No, I'm just playing. I'm talking. I'm here. Hello to everyone. I'm in another live. And let me be honest with you. Like you see the checks and balances and systems. In fact, there's a part of me that wants to just cut off this live and go back to calculating and dropping information and doing things. I'm celebrating such a major milestone today. Um, and that is branding the company. Like we have our first official sign. I don't know if you can see it or not. Um, and it's a big deal to me because one is like I've been saying, "Oh my God, it's real. Oh my God, it's real. Oh my God, it's real." But like, dude, it's real. But then the other piece of it is like it's written all over your face. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to say a word. And that's exactly what's happening is that the business is what it's doing, and I probably should just really break down the business. And so I can't hide from the truth that I have something greater that must be done. And it's my responsibility to do it. Can you see? Yeah. So if you drive through town, this is what you see. And I actually have the company. And I thought hard about this because there's ways that you present yourself as an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you some truths in a little bit, but I have the official name. I am J Essence Enterprises. Everything that I do, everything that I touch, whether it's 10% to 100%, all follows underneath J Essence Enterprises. Then Hatima Farms. So we have the farm, but we also have a headquarters. And so the headquarters here, and then we have 365 Rhonda, and then we have my cousin Connection, which I probably should probably do a pull up real quick on what that looks like. So celebration, good times. Come on. It's a celebration. So I labeled this one like the story of a little black girl. And how did I get here? How did you get here? Yes, I commence. I haven't seen you in forever. Yes, I cut all of my hair, girl. I don't know where I got that idea from. I don't know. I know somebody out there just being sexy and sassy with it, and it's like, what is it gonna do? And look me in my eye. Like I love that part where I could be like, look me in my eye. Like nothing's hidden. So I'm gonna start with the conversation of um how did I get here? A lot of people ask like, how did you get to Rwanda? I am coming up on ending my second year, so 2 full years in Rwanda and then going into year number 3. And there's so much that I've learned and so much that I'm going towards. And the very first piece that I am saying is I did not come to Rwanda to become an entrepreneur. Um, in truth, being an entrepreneur, being innovative, being all that is so freaking exasperating and hard. And one of those things that I will say is a very hard lesson to learn is you really you really have to know your circle. And this is not because there's haters in your circle and there just it's really hard to explain something nobody ever has envisioned or dreamt of before. It is really hard. And so what happens is that we are naturally gifted towards um being part of. So when you start talking or something and you're talking out of the realm of somebody else's mindset or box, um they're straining to understand. And so it makes yourself feel alone. You feel crazy. And I sat there and said this to my project manager. We just went through an entire training. So I will shout out Heaven Rabbits. We went through an entire training. And in the training, what this man is doing and what they've proceeded to do, I 6 months ago said I wanted to do. And that's why I can't understand why people say just be quiet. I just be crazy. And what be crazy means is, well, if you can't see it, I'll still see it, and I'm just gonna shut up. Like I gave you a chance to catch the train first, so now you can catch the short bus. But and I say that because when he was talking about the ways that what he does and his products, he was talking about doing things that I 6 months ago said I want to do. Is it possible? How do we make it possible? And so I need to spend time looking for how to's. And when I talked to my project manager and stuff, and I was like, no, you told me no. And I said, so right now in Hatima Farms and J Essence, no is not allowed unless there is a why. No, it's not allowed unless there is a why. And we're citing evidence on why. And so we don't respond to things with no, we won't. We'll respond to things on how can we do it and is that best practices. That's how we will respond to things. How can we do it and is that best practices? But that whole no shutting me down before I even get to stand up, we can't do that. We won't do that. We won't do that. So if I go back into the story about how did I get here, I just think I think I'm grateful that in growing up, so I'm gonna give you guys your Sunday, your musing. I am so grateful that God kept me ignorant for so long. God kept me ignorant and protected that I just think I thought things could be. And so it wasn't until nearly after college where the no's became a bigger piece of my reality. And for me, what I recognized is that I am a good girl. And so sometimes in raising or talking to people, you really need to learn who they are or what they do. Because when I'm a good girl, like all you had to do is tell me, um, don't touch a hot stove. You get burnt. I ain't touching the hot stove. It's very simple. I'm not going to sit there and punish and abuse myself. And so when you give that kind of advice, um, to somebody, or so when you start giving advice to somebody who you don't know, you could shut down what you didn't know what you were shutting down. So advice should always be dealt with in questions and knowing who that person is. And that, so what I'm saying is that I was never really taught. Thank you, Langston University. Thank you to my people who raised me. But I was never really taught, no, you cannot do these things. Like I was 16 years old in the radio station at Langston University because curiosity brought me there and I started having conversations. So it wasn't until, like I said, after college where it was like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I started to edit myself before you could say no. And that's where the downfall comes in and why I have to say this is the Black girl's dream or whatever. Because when you start editing yourself to fit their norms, you really do pressure so much of the diamond that you're supposed, like you close in, you basically create a glass box with thicker glass that's harder to break at later times. And so what I want to say is, in order for me to be here now, I thank God for the spark that was there before. Because while all these things started combining and combusting on top, the problem is, but praise you guys. I'm gonna blame there's a the problem is it took so much longer for me to break, but thank God I broke. And so in growing up and all this other stuff, I I just felt like I was being a good girl and I was doing the right things, but I wasn't winning. And and I didn't have to win. I was Akila and the Bee with my win, which means that we both can get trophies, baby, if we do the work. Not everybody gets a participation trophy. I'm not down with that. But if we do the work, we both can win. And I was doing the work, but I wasn't winning. And one of those things, and I don't know if you guys get hit with that, is that I don't like my success being tied to a person's perception, because to me it's that person's perception is their attitude, and that's unfair to the work that I've done. Like literally, you get to pick my worth based upon you, not markers, not I check these things and it's done. And that actually happened to me when I was getting one of my certificates or one of my degrees. I passed all the checkpoints. I passed all the checkpoints. Check, 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 check. Passed all the checkpoints just to have the two managers over the system say, I don't think she's ready. And I had to go to school for an additional semester. And in that additional semester, they brought in a third party mentee to mentee me, and she literally saw what I did for one day. She was supposed to be there for 4 weeks, and she said, "Oh, you got it." And she signed my paperwork, and we, kept going. But it was like I really, because what happens is in that, and now I'm talking to people who don't watch the stream, is that you crush somebody who's ready to soar. There were so many times that I got crushed before I got ready to soar. So I'm giving you all this backstory, which is a long backstory. So thank you for being here. Because when people talk about, oh my God, you inspire me so much, like I don't understand at first, the ego's coming, how I was an inspiration where I felt like I was on a path by myself. I was fighting for freedom, and I was fighting to make truth out of a voice that I heard that nobody else did. And what happened is I was willing to hold on to that word. I was willing to hold on to that vision because at the time too I was like um I failed before. I have fell and fallen before. So if I fail again now, woo wee, been here before, been there, done that. So what's so crazy about holding on and trying something new? Because I've been down this road before, and I ain't like it. I ain't really like it. Like I want to say I had the opportunity to be in a relationship, and when he kind of showed me, and I was like, ooh, I appreciate it. I thank you, but this ain't the road I want to be. I don't want to carry your last name so I can get this. Like, oh, I wish I could talk and drink. But I don't want to carry your last name, and this is what I come home to. Like, just doesn't seem like it is. Well, I feel like I delete. Camisa, you still there? Because I could talk to you. Um, because I always talk about Rhonda stuff. Do I tell you? Okay, so look, the thing was, let me be honest with you. The brother man, he believed in was it like the male role and the female role. So I kind of was like, I don't know if I really want to buy into this because it was like very traditional. So he wanted me to like have the babies, come home, cook and clean, do the homework, and all these other things, right? Get up in the morning, clean, do all this other stuff, be in the house. And then when it's time for us to do, it wasn't getting done. So I was kind of like, yo, I'm not signing up for all of these check marks that I must do, and I can't bust one at the end of the day. I can't, like, that's disrespectful to me that you want me to line up and be superwoman, and I can't hit a super O. I can't eat a regular O. I just sitting there like, oh, like that's disres. No, no. It doesn't work like that. So all I'm saying is that sometimes you get to see a future, and right where you at the door, take it. Don't build it. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna give it potential. Oh, we can do this. We can practice stroking this way. And I'm not doing, because the other thing is, so before people come out throat, is that even if you wasn't on the O, were you receptible to hearing how to be an O? But for me, I was like, no, it's too much work. Too much work. And I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to go through stretch marks and pain labors. And I got to go ahead and put extra pounds on my body so I can go and run and work out with this PCOS metabolism. Everything I do is 3 times harder than what another person has to do. And you can't give me, you want to munch on a carpet? That's what you called it. That was disrespectful. So that's how I knew you really didn't know what you're doing, because nobody calls that a carpet. Of all the names out there in the world, carpet, carpet. Okay, whatever. So So what I'm saying is, how did I get to Rhonda? Right? How did all this get to Rhonda? Girl, man, let me say, when you say work harder, not smarter, baby, at this point in time, you just needed to do some work. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Okay, so so what happens is like When I was in Houston, I just couldn't see a future. I was doing all the hard work. I was going through cycles. I was doing, like I said, I had all the checklist, but America was coming up empty on the O, empty on the O. Like America was just not. Let me say this: America had great foreplay. I'll give you that. America had great foreplay, and let me tell you what I mean by that. America's foreplay is like, ooh, the brunches and the concerts, and the mimosas and the people. Like great foreplay, great promise, great promise. But at the end of the day, you wasn't coming up off the O. You wasn't coming off the O. Like there was still a piece of fulfillment that wasn't touched, and I don't think you the one to touch it, player. I think that I can do better by just shutting this down and just going someplace else. Because do you know what? Based upon my citizenship status, based upon the blue passport, if I go out and venture out, this is a whole DMX thing. If I venture out into the world and I don't like it, um, you can bark, and I'm gonna come back home. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the one I just if you love something, let it go. And you turn around and you come back. Stop at the stoplight, then I made four rights. Like the one thing that we have to understand is in my pursuit of going further, my fall, my fall was not a bad fall to land on. My mattress was not a bad mattress. America was a mattress. And I knew what I was getting. It's literally like going out into the world and realizing the world disappoints you. So I'm going to go back home and I'm gonna eat this. What did Chris Rock say? The chicken. I'm gonna eat this piece of chicken that I've been eating this whole time because you don't know how to cook steak. You don't know how to do that. So I was like, let me at least go venture and try. And when I went to venture and try, my mother did something to me in college that I knew I had to do. When it was time for me to go to college, my mother told me to shut it down because I went out of country, out of state for college. Um, and so when she told me to shut it down, I had to like rip all the posters off my room. Like I had to pack up trophies. I have never seen my talented teen trophy, and that thing was big. Um, I had to like literally like get rid of stuff. When I left home, my room was bare. There was nothing in my room, and there was no temptation or dreams of me coming back and being cozy in my room. And I actually give this advice to my friends when their kids go off to college, like shut it down. Because when I was at college, like when they asked me about my address, I just looked at them and said, I ain't having one. And my mom was sitting right there and she was like, and they're like, no, 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 your permanent address. And I was like, and I looked at her and she was like, she does not have a permanent address, but if something needs to come home, she can mail it to her mother. Like that's how deep it was. Like like I had to ask permission to come home for Christmas. Like, is there a place for me to stay? Yeah, I got a place for you. And she told me later that she did that for like both of our own emotional thing because she didn't want to come save me either. So when I left America, I was like, bet I'm doing the same thing. I'm shutting it down. I'm giving away things. I'm doing this because no matter what, I'm going to be on this journey. And I'm not going to sit on this journey and I'm not going to cry about the past. I'm not going to cry about what could be. I'm going to be in the midst of what I am doing and do it. And I've had ugly nights. I've had horrible times. I've had times where I could be like, I could just go back and be done. But going back is work too. I didn't make going back easy. I don't have a home to go back to. Like I did not make it easy to go back. I made it I like the same amount of work I would have to go into going back is the same amount of work that I have to go into continuing forward. Period. So I would say one of the first things is that I consciously knew that. And then I also consciously studied. I studied for the move. I studied for the trip. I am yes, me and my mommy's back with me. But I studied for the trip. Like I learned, I listened, I tried, and then I did. And so once leaving, there were some things that hit. There were some things that hit really hard. Leaving was not an easy thing, but leaving was permanent. Like one of the things people don't realize is I had broken my foot, um, real bad, like like crack the foot, crack the foot. And once again, my mother came down to Houston to help me because the doctor stated if it did not heal, it was like a 6-week process. But if the bone did not heal on itself, like if this was it, like the structure was here. So there was no weight that could be held. But if the bone did not heal on itself, I then would have to go into surgery and get a metal rod in. Well, because they had to be whatever, whatever, the anticipated date of surgery was the same date as my plane ticket out of Houston. Child. So basically, the bone needed to heal. Like the bone needed to heal. And so mama came because she also knew like any pressure, anytime I could put foot on, like she knew I would put pressure on it, whatever. So my mom came down and helped me. And so, but the thing is that people said, I'm being nice by saying people, that the reason why my foot was broken was a sign from God that I should not be going out of the country. Look at me now. Pretty much the sign from God is you broke your foot. Like literally, a broken foot was a broken foot. It was not a greater mission of mercy. It was not anything else but a broken foot. And you shouldn't have been playing basketball with them little kids. Like the only message really was you too thick in the chunk to be trying to do a crossover. And you knew better. You had not worked out in 3 months, and then you went out there and tried to cross somebody up. And when you crossed, you like this is the cross. See how you do this? I did this, and I stayed. I didn't do a crossover. I did a stay over, and I just stayed and crumbled to the ground. So the other piece is that so people will easily put their predictions. Like, have you ever had this on your future? Like, I'm gonna pray for you. And that's one thing I'm really bad about. So I don't know, y'all get into all of it. I don't like people praying for me. No, let me take that back. I take that back. I like people praying for me, strengthen me, gather me, whatever else like that. But um, but some people try to speak things on you. Now, player, that's not what God trying to tell you. Now, player. See, God didn't confirm that with me, so you don't get to talk to God about that, right? So it's kind of like, and I have taken over prayer sessions for me. Control freak. I have because I just be like, hold up. How can I be living this life and I know and you coming in on a back tip? Nah, player. And sometimes your vision's too small for what I'm trying to do. I remember that. I remember being, well, they don't watch me. I remember being in the classroom. Somebody was praying for me to get a man. And this is like, I'm your boss. But she was like, your heart is hot. Your heart is heavy. Your heart is this. And you need time. So she started praying for me, not knowing, I don't know, that um I was coming out of a relationship with a person who was a user. So I was kind of like, so now you praying for me. And then she prayed, girl, she played this basic prayer. She was like, God, lift Jay up. God, take care. God, open her heart. And then she ended. I was like, so we went through all this emotional turmoil for you to give a basic prayer? Girl, put some adjectives in my prayer. Put some adjectives in my prayer. And I took over that whole prayer session. She was crying at the end. I was like, sit there and take out my time. So, and you still getting this evaluation. Show did evaluate you. Show still evaluated you. And you look at it and evaluate you on your prayer. That was a blessing because that would have got a C too. Um, but let me go ahead and sit there and say, so we were talking about how did the little girl get here? So those characteristics, um, that was where are you going to keep going forward with your plans or no? Yeah, I want to say I don't like being a liar. Like if I turn around and say I'm going to do something, I've done the research to know it's possible. So yeah. So even with the like I was on the plane, I forgot to say that part. Yeah, so we made it. We made it. The bone healed. I was on the plane. um a week later. And then if you want to talk about things that are lined up, when I started to know I was going to make the journey, I did pray to God for certain things to happen. This is, yeah, I said, God, one thing I knew is that I was not going to be in the land of milk and honey. Um, that things were easy, like concerts and all this stuff, the things that I like to do. So I said, God, I wanted three people to come so I could see him in concert. It was Miguel, it was J. Cole, and it was Kim. And I saw Miguel did like he started a tour, but he did some undercover dates. And them things went out on Groupon for like a 24-hour sale, and I found them. And so he did an undercover concert in Houston. So like that was prayer one. Kim came. Um, and I chose not to go. So I was like, God still blessed me with that one. And then the third one is I saw J. Cole 2 days before my flight. And J. Cole did not announce his tour dates. He started his tour in Houston. So I was like, you would have that's what I claimed as alignment, not the broken foot. So those things. So that took me to Dubai. And like I said, I am so happy I left America and not necessarily just moved to Africa. I left America because one, I was able to see different life because we are so used to what we're used to. And I just did not know things were different. And so I kind of had like a filler country and I got to learn about different customs. I got to learn diversity, building new relationships. I got to be the stranger. I got to be the foreigner. I really learned about visas. I learned about just so much being in a situation. And but I especially learned that the one way or the ways that were taught to me are not the only ways of survival. And so that part just opened me up to more. And I think that's when I changed over my life insurance. That's when I changed over all of these things. And the American way is not the only way. And not only is it not the only way, it's not always the best way. There are other ways that you can hit targets and do things. So I really spent time to think about think about things. And also I learned how to put a decipher, like a space between advice, then it goes through this filter. That's a good one. Then it comes to me because there's much more out there. There's so much more out there. So going from there, and like I said, I know we've talked about this before, from Dubai to Rwanda, like I said, I think my journey had always been, oh, I'm going to go to Ghana, but Ghana was the easy choice. Not necessarily the wrong choice, but Ghana is the place that you see Black Americans already being. You hear the stories and the history. It was Liberia and Ghana, Ghana, Liberia. And so I think I was working with the assumption that things were already set in place to be. And that would be the best place to acclimate at. And once I got to Dubai is when I started hearing the rumors of a space called Rhonda. And what I wanted to bring to the table um, is everything that I was making a decision to do was for retirement purposes. I left my job and did what I did overseas because I was putting money to the side to pay off debt and to retire in the space that I want to. And the way that my brain was still working, y'all don't realize, I was just like, when I get 65, this is the life I wanted. I still got 20 years before 65. But I wasn't thinking like this is what I wanted. Like, let me go ahead and build a house I want. Let me go ahead and do this. Like, let me be able to have a nice vacation. That's literally what I was saying. Like, I wanted to be able to get into nice spaces. Um, and then that's when Rhonda and I'm probably going to end this broadcast pretty soon. That's when Rhonda started really popping up because what Rhonda offered that I couldn't see other countries offering was a set of rules and systems and a proactive president that was in tuned to people. And I did not want to retire someplace and have to deal with corruption. Like literally, Let's be honest. If I spent my entire life working for the man, working for the man and doing a good job and not getting credits for the work that I do for the man, why would I want to live in a place that was still taking from me? And that's why it was just hard in that decision. I'm shouting out Journey. I'm shouting out Yo D. Hey Yo D. I like saying Yodi 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 Yo. Okay. Um, and so that was the reason why I wanted to gravitate towards Rhonda and at least visit and see if it really is true based on what they say. And like I tell people, I personally, personal opinion, personal opinion, I believe that for me, Ghana is lit. Ghana is the place to be. Do Usher was just there, okay? Oh my goodness. I think Ghana is off the chain. I think Ghana is Atlanta. I think it's pop bean. I don't think that's where my home is going to be. Like I had a chance to move to Atlanta and I'm legitimately was like, no, that's a little bit too much for me. I love visiting. Oh my God, I be in Atlanta like every summer, like once a year. I will go visit, I will go party, I will go enjoy it, but that's not home. That's not home. And I can tell you now, 30 minutes in, I have moved from Kigali and I live in a different part of Rwanda. And this part speaks so much more to me and who I am and what I'm supposed to become. And I just recognize that the things that I'm built to do and be are just it's flowing naturally in its journey. A year ago, if you had told me I was gonna move out here, I would have laughed at you. But it was absolutely the best thing possible. My mind is settled. And I don't want to say this, but women, we understand how important this one is. Okay. I am I am finally to me starting to lose weight. And somebody was like, "What are you doing? What did you change?" And I'm like, "I didn't change nothing except for I am not stacked under stress. I'm not stacked under stress. So the way that my body responds to things, baby, the stress, like even if I was trying to be on some kind of weight loss, I was so stressed about things that literally now just be in a different place. And I still have things to stress about. I still have things to deal with, but just this environment is a better environment to say, yes, I can move forward on. Yes, I can do. I have space. I can breathe and everything else. I'm really interested in this, Yodi. You were in Ghana for 8 months. It wasn't for me and left. Let me go ahead and put this in because if you want to come in, I am curious without blasting you. Like what's going on? So if you want to come and join in, you can join in. If you're going to be like, no, I don't do that. My business not be out in the streets. It's cool. But I feel the same way. I feel like to be honest with you, I really want to go to Ghana for like 2 to 3 weeks. And I really do. I really do. But that would be enough for me. Like, I really want to go to Ghana just on a vacation tip and enjoy it. I don't want to go to Ghana, have to worry about business deals. I don't want to have to go to Ghana and do this. I really just want to go to Ghana and just enjoy it. And like I said, I don't have to move there. I don't have to live there. I don't have to be anything else but me. Yeah, commence. I didn't know how bad it was. And I'll be honest with you. So there's some other shout outs I need to do. I shout out, oh my gosh, I will shout out Peloton so much. Um, because and like let me tell you why. The cortisol is no joke. I struggle with it too. Like that stress. Y'all don't realize I was being stressed working out. Um, yeah, working out was a stressful situation for me because it was like, okay, I got to do this. 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 And I was still control freaking in that. And so I was like, while it could feel good, like I think some of y'all saw me boxing, boxing was fun and I enjoyed it. But I felt like I was telling my trainer what to do, like, da da da. I had to remind him, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. And I'm also a grown woman. I know what works for me and I know what doesn't. You trying to yell at me does not, baby. Who you think you're talking to? Like, I pay you to be here. So we should be doing this thing together. But no, 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 I'm not your subordinate. I don't care if it's a push up or not. Like that. And then I also have the complex of don't be clapping for me. Like, I don't know. I'm just really, really hard to work with and deal with. And I like variety. And so that's why I said, so I've had, and this is one of the questions I really ask. So I've had the Peloton app for like 2 years. Like I was one of the people that when COVID first started, I was like, yo, Peloton. And I was doing it, but I was in Dubai. And I liked it then. If anybody knows anybody at Peloton, they needed, I think they're better, so much more outdoor running because I was outdoor runner. I was not with the treadmill. Um, and then I kept going off and on. So um now I've recognized like I'm literally in a gym, I'm by myself, I'm doing the Peloton app, I paid attention and I'm like, I'm consistent. Like this is the space it was for me. And there was a stress that I had of not being perfect, can't run heavy, like I'm cheating the minutes. Like we running for 3 minutes. I run for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, y'all work with me. But what I say with the cortisol is that I didn't realize how much stress I was putting myself under. Like every single piece of the game was stressful. So the celebration that I have now is that I'm in a place where it's not like that. I'm happy. I have an environment, I breathe and all that other stuff. I've also allowed boundaries to be affected in my life and not worried about um making people happy and being happy myself. I've prioritized that because I allowed a lot of relationships to stay because it was the right thing to do. It was polite versus now it's like, hey, I'm going to give you space to grow and I'm going to give myself space to grow and we're fine. And if we come back together, we grow. And like I sat there and told my friend, um, sometimes you have to tell people how to bless you since they don't know that. Like, but you should not be in my life and taking from me and getting all of these things if I can't reciprocal the same from you. And what happens is that you would harbor feelings against that. You know what that person should have done, and so I don't actually hold that against them. I'm just like, oh, they did not know. But since you did not know, let me go ahead and remove me from this equation so you can learn without me because I have other things to do. So that cortisol, like all of those stresses are slowly coming out. And it's allowed me to build more vision and more energy and more purpose around the things that I am supposed to be doing. So it's allowed me, like I said, I work online, I teach. I am also starting to get into the consulting business. I do the things that we do with my cousin Connection, which I love. I had to revamp the vision for my cousin connection so it can all fall into something that's attainable for everybody. It's attainable for everybody. Because I don't disappoint people. That's what I don't do. I do not try to disappoint people. So building all of those things um, put me in a situation where I'm at now, where I have a billboard with 3, 4 businesses. I need to check this out. 365 Rhonda, which is because I don't lie. I want to be like, it's doing great. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And it's ready for more attention and affection. It's ready for more attention and affection. But the fact that we actually have Pam, shout outs. Yeah, it's ready for more attention and affection. Yeah, more attention and affection. Like it's doing what it's supposed to do. So 365 Rhonda is basically like it tells you all the events for the upcoming weeks to 2 weeks and looking for ways to continue with that work and that we're doing. Yeah, users got to get it moving. Like so I said, but I'm in the space to know all these things and being able to put those there. For anyone who's here, if you want to join in to talk, because like this is just Sunday. This is just a Sunday musing and I'm chatting and I put it back in there. And I thank you. Let me stop and say this. I thank each and every person who's ever sponsored donate. We are doing some big things at the farm. I think I put that in my last video. So there's a lot of things that's having to happen and putting that in place. My cousin connection, we have done more visas. Oh, businesses. We've started like 18 businesses just phenomenal work. And so that's it. I guess that's I feel bad because it's like it's clickback, like a story of how a black girl got here. But I want to be able to answer your questions. I want to be able to help guide the conversation the way you want it to be guided, gilded, goaded, goaded, whatever, and go that way. Um, if not, I'm gonna hang up because what else is there? Um, Shout outs to my tennis shoes. I got me some new tennis shoes. I'm happy about that. And let me send out this other email. Because if not, y'all gonna end up watching me work. Because I do work. I work all the time, and I know that's not why y'all here. So, Jay Wash. And if that's it, let me see what else. Yeah, boundaries are important. They are saving my life too. It's a process. It is like nobody's healed immediately. Nobody's healed right then. People are constantly in a state of healing and being. We are in the INGs of life. We are in the process of doing, trying, living, seeing, singing, saying. We are in the processes of the INGing in life, helping, hoping, praying. I ain't fasting. That was real good, like, but I ain't fasting. I need to eat some peaches. Glad y'all said it. I need some peaches. Okay, so I'm not going to just drag on and on and on and on. If you want to contact me, um, definitely check out the website. We're doing so many things. We also love your support if you continue supporting. The support for the website goes towards maintenance, upkeep, keeping it ad free for now. Transport salaries, what was I trying to say? The big web things, like the big things, like paying for the domain, paying for the graphics, paying for rights and stock photos and all that other stuff. So thank you so much to people who are supporters of My Cousin Connection. It is very important that you guys are, and I appreciate every single thing that you do. Um, I appreciate everything. So, like I said, and this is what I don't like. I'm trying to give you guys, if you have any questions, oh, is this it? Let me see if I can do this. I'm learning. Okay, so we have someone in the back room trying to connect, which is Yodi. And so I'm going to wait just a little bit to see what that internet popping is going to be like, um, to see if we can get some friends on the line. I got some friends on the line. It's about time. Okay, that note. I was about to say maybe that person's still in Ghana because the way the internet is going. But I ain't want to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me. Okay, so the device is not connecting, so I don't know what's going to happen here. And I'm thanking you for writing. Like, subscribe, subscribe, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, all of that. And I was trying. I'm gonna give about one more minute, but if the device doesn't connect, we letting it go, baby. We letting it go. Let it. Why'd I say let it snow? Let it go. That's actually a good beat. Oh, sigh, let it go. Baby, you can't let it go. Okay, I'm gonna come back and have like a fun evening with everybody. Y'all remember when we used to have fun? We played games and did crazy things. That was fun. Probably gonna do another one of those really soon. All right, to everyone else, bye.